Hello YouTube! Today we just got a bunch of brand new Genshin Impact info, and today in this video we're going to be talking about the same thing as always, the brand new 2.8 Genshin Impact Kazuha banner and if it is worth rolling for. Of course there are a bunch of brand new information. I got so many notifications on my Discord, so I have to wake up at 2 AM to make this video. So with that being said, as always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and let's talk about the Genshin 2.8 banner. And for my Twitch frog, sorry I can't be there to react with you guys, but you know, hey. Starting off, of course, we have the brand new 2.8 banner Kazuha Kazuha features banner. Now, Kazuha Kazuha is a really good character, but he's definitely not a must pull. I think most people overestimate the strength of Kazuha, especially the necessity of Kazuha, but also the gap between Kazuha and Sucrose. Now, while I previously made a few videos talking about how Kazuha is a really strong character, maybe even one of the best characters in Genshin Impact, and how he's a really good pull for almost any account out there, he definitely is not a must pull, and you should really be aware of that in case you want to skip Kazuha for, you know, any of the brand new leaked Dendro character as well. To be honest, that is completely acceptable, as Sucrose, to be honest, could suffice for many players as well. In the next couple days or weeks, we're gonna drop more video about Kazuha, like the difference between Kazuha and Sucrose, why Phonius Kazuha is the way to do it instead of building Iron String on Kazuha. I think one video couldn't really cover all of those, so those will be coming in the near futures if you need help to make that decision. So of course, as always, if you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. But I just want to make a quick call out that yes, Kazuha is really strong, is really valuable for many accounts out there, and you probably wouldn't really regret him if you do decide to pull him for a meta reason. However, with Dendro coming, and we don't know how Anemo will react with Dendro, and we don't know how Kazuha will react with Dendro, and furthermore, once again, while Kazuha is really good, he is far from being a must pull, especially since good substitution like Sucrose does exist. So don't feel bad about skipping him if you really want to save for like the Dendro characters or just don't really care about Kazuha. That being said though, alongside Kazuha we do have Klee, who unfortunately is pretty much left dead in the Genshin Impact meta. In general, in Genshin Impact there isn't really any good Callus DPS at the current moment, and Klee is just one of the worst DPS in the Genshin Impact meta right now, with tons of problem like being really clunky to play, doesn't do enough damage, and just having problem dropping rate price. Now that doesn't mean Klee is unplayable or even garbage. There are some Klee comp that you can play, like Reverse Melt Enabler, Double Hydro with Klee, or even just Mono Pyro Klee. Those comp are definitely fine and you can use them. Just know that they are not necessarily the definition of meta, as there are much better comp out there like Xiangling or even Hu Tao, or pretty much any of the other Pyro characters can be argued that they're all better than Klee. If you're playing for Klee for ayaya reason, just be aware that Klee is still usable, but Klee is definitely far from being better, and so if you're looking for meta characters, I cannot recommend Klee, unfortunately. With that being said though, let's take a look at the 4-star, starting off with our brand new 4-star Anemo boy, Heizou. Heizou at the current moment look quite interesting. He has the potential to be a brand new taser driver replacing Sucrose, or even just act as a Sucrose substitution. Now that's a really cool thing, because if you're a new player or a semi-new player and you are pulling on this Kazuha banner, then if you happen to get Heizou, he could actually function for your other team as a taser driver, which could be exciting. However, of course, at the current moment, we don't really know if he is better than Sucrose as a taser driver or worse than Sucrose as a taser driver, or maybe even just equivalent. Nevertheless, he does seem to have promising potential in a taser team. Unfortunately, just not many other teams seem suitable for him at the current moment, but we will need further testing. What we do know, however, is that Ningguang and Toma, who are the two other 4-star characters on this banner, are kind of bad and are usually considered to be C or even D tier character in Genshin Impact. Starting off with Ningguang, she being a Geo main DPS is pretty much, again, a dead character in the Genshin Impact meta. Geo is not known for being meta in Genshin Impact, as it is unable to react with any of the other element in the game, and it's gonna get worse and worse when Dendro come out, because Geo is unable to react with Dendro, while a lot of the other element could gain interesting and future potential. Nowadays, at best, you play Ito plus Albedo plus Goro for a Geo team, but otherwise Geo as an element is just not very good in Genshin Impact. We have no idea if they are ever gonna buff it, we have no idea if they're ever gonna change it, but unfortunately, at the current moment, with the current information we have, Geo, especially Ningguang as a DPS, is just dead. And alongside Ningguang, we also have Thoma in the bottom. Thoma, to be honest, is an okay character. He does what he's advertised to do, which is to give you a shield. However, of course, if you're just purely looking for a shield, there are other options like Diano. If you pay to win, then there is Zhongli. His shield is okay. It is not the biggest, but it's definitely not the smallest either. The most common use case for Thoma in the Genshin Impact meta is to play him in a Hu Tao VV comp, where you use Thoma to not only supply a shield for your Hu Tao for safety, but also to supply Hydro so that you can proc VV Swerve on Pyro, as Hu Tao herself is unable to do so. Now that comp does have a few problems, like for example, Thoma could potentially take away reaction from your Hu Tao and therefore causing her to lose damage, to the point where if you have any other better comp, then you probably prefer that one over the Thoma VV comp. For example, like double Hydro of Hu Tao where you run Neelan and Xing Chus, or maybe you can just even run Amber of Elegy to proc it with Hu Tao. Of course, if you really care about comfort and you really need a shield, there's always just running Zhongli even in double Geo Bro comp, or just running Zhongli with double Hydro plus Hu Tao comp. So yeah, Thoma is just not very good. I would say he's kind of mediocre. He is okay at what he's meant to do, and otherwise he's not really playing it at all. So unfortunately, this banner is kind of terrible because we do have two characters that we know are not very good, one character that look to have okay potential but not very high, aka Heizou, and we have Kazuha or Klee, who are the features 5-star characters, but Klee is not very good as well. And then we have Kazuha, who is known to be quite good. So evaluate if you really want to pull on this banner yourself. I think if you're looking to go for Kazuha, then that's definitely okay, and hopefully you just pick up some Heizou along the way, maybe get a C6 Heizou even, hopefully you get lucky. However, of course, alongside the character banner, we also have the weapon banner to talk about, and to nobody's surprise, it has Freedom Sworn as well as Lost Prey of the Sacred Wind, which are Kazuha's signature weapon and Klee's signature weapon. Now, one of the most common questions I get when I'm streaming on Twitch is, should I pull for C2 Kazuha or Freedom Sworn? And to be honest, the answer is usually I recommend Freedom Sworn over C2 Kazuha. C2 Kazuha provide you with 200 elemental mastery, which not every single comp can take care of. For example, if you ever play like a Raiden Hyper, then C2 Kazuha doesn't really benefit that much, as Raiden doesn't really scale with elemental mastery at all, where Freedom Sworn it could still be beneficial. However, most importantly, that Freedom Sworn can be used on multiple different characters. It's actually surprisingly quite good on other characters that are not Kazuha, like Jean or Bennett as well. So overall, Freedom Sworn is a pretty amazing weapon. The problem here is, unfortunately, Lost Prey of the Sacred Wind is far from being an amazing weapon. In general, Catalyst as a weapon just is not very good. The only real Catalyst in this game is, well, Freedom Tail of Dragon Slayer, which is TTDS. At the current moment in Genshin Impact, there just isn't a single good DPS Catalyst user. If you are playing a DPS Catalyst user like Ningguang or Klee, then I guess Lost Prey of the Sacred Wind is not too bad as a weapon to pick up, but if we're strictly talking about meta, then Catalyst users are just not very meta, and neither are Catalyst weapon. This weapon is not too bad though. It does give you crit rate as a substat, as well as a good amount of damage on your passive. So if Genshin Impact in the future somehow is able to make a good Catalyst DPS user, then this Catalyst potentially could see play, maybe even on Heizou. But another really good Catalyst for a Catalyst DPS user is actually Smith, who is currently on the same banner as well as a 4-star. Wilson is just a really strong weapon for DPS Catalyst user. It provides good damage substat, as well as a really amazing passive, although it is quite inconsistent and depend on your RNG. A R5 Smith in general will out DPS almost any R1 5-star Catalyst at the current moment. And so if you happen to have an R5 Smith, or you got one from this banner, then once again the Lost Prey of to the Sacred Wind could not be very good, as you prefer that one over the Sacred Wind. But alongside the 4-star, there are the Phonius Spear as well, which is really strong. The Phonius series is one of the best series in Genshin Impact. Every single Phonius weapon is really strong, and the Phonius lens is no exception on character like Rosaria or Shenhe or even Xiangling, where they not only are year hungry, but are often played as a off-field character so that you can use the Phonius passive to supply more energy to your overall entire team. Phonius Spear is just really strong, especially at high refinement. But alongside these two really good weapons, we unfortunately have some terrible weapons as well, like Rain range slasher and the official bow. Of course, the official bow is just not good. It's only useful on physical DPS official, which is not within the Genshin Impact meta at all, and it's just not actively being played. If you do like playing DPS physical official potentially with like a Yunjin, then I guess you could use this bow, but it's definitely not something that I would actively pull for. Ali Flash is alright, it has really high base attack, could be useful for a Bennett. To be honest, nowadays, if I have to put out a recommendation, I would much prefer to run Phonius Bennett, simply again, because the Phonius weapon series is just way too strong, being able to provide energy recharge to your entire team. And finally, we have the ultimate pain weapon, Rain Slasher, commonly known as Pain Slasher. To be honest, Rain Slasher is not as bad as it looks. It is usable on Vaporize Diluc, as Vaporize Diluc can take advantage of both the substat component, which is 200 elemental mastery, as well as the passive where you come into contact with a Hydro Aura enemy. But in general, if you have a better Claymore, then the Rain Slasher is almost never used, namely something like a Serpent Spine or even any of the 5-star Claymore, you would always prefer those over the Rain Slasher. If we ever get a elemental mastery scaling Claymore character in the future, the Rain Slasher could be useful, but as always, just remember there's always Phonius Claymore, which is pretty much the by default weapon for any character to go to now. So that character need to not have any ER issue to not justify running a Phonius in order for you to consider running Rain Slasher over the Phonius weapon. Alongside the 2.8 characters though, there will be also a brand new free-to-play weapon for Grab, which is the Cursed Blade. Now while this weapon is advertised to be a Kazuha weapon as it's aesthetically matching Kazuha, it is not good on Kazuha at all, and do not run it on your Kazuha. Kazuha, you really prefer to run EM or ER, which are Phonius Sword priority number 1, Sack Sword number 2, and then finally Iron String if you have a lot of ER on your substat, or you just don't have a FAV or a Sack available to you. You pretty much would never run the Curse Blade on your Kazuha because it just doesn't have the stat that he's looking for. He has attack instead of EM or ER. So who is this weapon good on? Well, I mean, it's an okay weapon as it still gives you attack percent substat with even more attack in the passive. So if you have a character that either really care about attack or you just don't really have any other option to run, it could be useful for certain characters. Like for example Jean, although again you prefer to run ER weapon on Jean usually. You can run it on Freeze Ayaka as attack is really good in Freeze team, but of course if you have the Amenoma Kageuchi, you prefer that over this because you do want to make sure that your Ayaka burst can come off cooldown, and that energy recharge from the Amenoma Kageuchi would really help out a lot over the passive of the Cursed Blade. And then you can run it on like Xingqius if you either don't really need ER or you just don't have other option to run, and the same go for like other characters like Ayato and stuff. Potentially quite good on Kaya, as Kaya doesn't need ER as much, and so if you don't have other option like Black Sword on your Kaya, the Cursed Blade could actually be a solid option. It does give you really high amount of attack, but in general I think the Cursed Blade would be a quite mediocre weapon. I don't think it's the worst weapon out there in existence, but I just don't think it is as good as long as you have other option like Fav, Black Sword, or whatever weapon depending on your characters. With that being said though, in the 2.8 patch, of course, we also have the brand new Diluc skin, which I'm super excited for. He just looked really, really amazing. I really like this red color scheme. The WGS looks so good, and the knight armor looks so amazing. I'm a huge fan of this, and I'm probably gonna instantly buy this, even though I don't play Diluc at all. I think this could be a cool outfit to cosplay as well, even though I'm not like a huge cosplayer. I think definitely a cool one to wear. It definitely looked really drip. So let me know if you'd like to see that, and maybe I will do it for a future convention. I mean, I do enjoy it, but just I'm not like a full-time one, you know? And with that being said, as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.